I try to get the students involved to use the technology that they already know in the classroom, because I know they're so heavy into the social media platforms. And I've done a poll a couple of times in class, and most of them have on average 5 different social media that they have accounts in. I use Twitter because Twitter is not like Facebook, it's not like Snapchat. It's a little bit more formal, if you want to call it that, and there's a lot of information that goes out on Twitter from entrepreneurs and entrepreneur agencies and stuff like this. So I wanted the students to be exposed to that on Twitter because they're comfortable with social platforms. So I require that they follow 5 or 6 different people on Twitter, but then they can follow other people as well too. And part of it is that they're supposed to do what I call 5 Twitter tallies, or it can be up to as many as 10. And so they simply follow the people that I mentioned, including myself, and they will find an article that they've posted, just give me a quick little summary of what it was about and how it relates to our class. And so it keeps them involved in it. Now, there are some students who didn't have a Twitter account before we started, and they've gotten a Twitter account now, and some of them will probably drop it as soon as the class is done, which is fine. But it exposes them to a new use for the technology instead of just social media stuff. It helps them to see that it can be used for business as well. And so many businesses know the value of social media for them to get their message out there. I would say, get them involved in using the social media that they already know as it applies to your course, because there's all kinds of information out there in all the fields, not just in business. I've taught this course before, but I've never had anybody else come into the course before by Skype, and we could have arranged that just as easily as not. And so for some odd reason, I thought once we were going to do this course that I wanted to get some pretty high profile people involved in the class. And so I follow lots of business people online, Richard Branson, Arlene Dickinson, Nathan Latka, and on and on and on it goes. Early in December, I had seen a post that Arlene Dickinson put on. In case you don't know, Arlene Dickinson from CBC's Dragon's Den program. And so I had sent her a message and asked her if she'd be interested in being in the class, no response. Later on in December, sent her a message, no response. And then between Christmas and New Year's, she had posted something about how important it was that her family had brought her to Canada and they settled here, and her story and stuff like this, and how important it is to tell those stories. So I jumped on that post that she had made and said, hey Arlene, we're doing this new approach to the nature of entrepreneurship at CBU this winter. Would love to have you come and tell your story. And within an hour, she responded from that one and said, sure, just contact me through my website. So we did, and we finally connected, and we had her on recently, and it was a huge success as far as, exposure for the university, for the students to hear somebody of her profile right in their class with them live. And we have a couple more who are planning to come on within the next 2 weeks as well within the course. And I think that brings a practical side to the stuff that they are learning from each other and from the text and stuff like this. And it just helps them to learn from somebody who's doing it, been there, done that. And in the few minutes that we had her online, which is only about 15 minutes, the gems that she left behind in those few minutes were really important. And I think the students will be able to draw on them for a long period to come.